So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is a Mr. Media interview, broadcast and recorded live on blogtalkradio.com from the new Media and Baseball. Go Rays, capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. I love Chuck. It's not a gay thing. I'm referring to the NBC TV show that just returned for its second season on Monday nights. And it's not just me. My wife and daughter are also huge fans of the goofy, sexy spy action comedy. That's a lot of words to describe a show, I know. Starring Zachary Levi, Yvonne Strahovski, the hottest working woman in TV or film today as far as I'm concerned, Adam Baldwin, and my guest this morning, Joshua Gomez. Gomez is Morgan, Chuck's best friend and co-worker at the Buy More Electronics Superstore. Morgan has a 19-year-long crush on Chuck's sister Ellie, dates a beautiful Asian co-worker who looks like she just stepped out of a Japanese manga story, and, according to Chuck, the man has a black belt in dumplings. Josh, welcome to Mr. Media.
Hey, how are you?
I am paying attention to this show.
I love it. I love it. Black belt and dumplings. That's great.
Is producing and appearing on Chuck anywhere near as fun as watching it?
Actually, that's the coolest part about it. It actually is. I mean, me and Zach kind of every time we do interviews and do whatever, we talk about how it's just like it's just coming to hang out with our friends and having fun. I mean, it's just like it's hardly work. I mean, believe me, it sometimes, especially for him, can be it's work, but it is. It's just so much fun. We have a great time.
It's one of those shows, I mean, I don't crush on a lot of TV shows. I really don't. But yeah, from the first time we saw it, it's like this is something so different. And it boggles the mind why more people haven't caught on to it. I mean, it's a wonderful show.
First of all, thank you so much. And that's we feel the same way. And, you can't control, what people are going to obviously watch as much as we want to. But I felt the same way. I remember I remember doing the pilot and then watching it actually edited and cut together and do whatever and going like, holy crap, this is really cool. And it was. And you finally after I seen it, even after reading it and do whatever, you don't know until you actually see it and you go like, man, it was so cool. And it just had this sort of wink to it. It was just fun. And I think it was a little confusing at first for people. Like, man, I don't really get this. I don't understand what this is about. And then I think once you watch it, you go, oh, okay, got it. This is not supposed to be. We're not supposed to take all that other stuff super serious. You know what I mean? This is more just an hour of like solid entertainment with cars blowing up, beautiful women, and and some solid laughs once in a while. I think so. But I tell you what though, man. I mean, we get a lot of people seem to be watching one way or another. Maybe it's not quite. I mean, either it's TiVo or downloading on iTunes or whatever it is, but it's getting out there.
I think there were two shows last season that really changed our viewing habits. Pushing Daisies was one. It's another show that has a very unique point of view and attitude. And Chuck, I mean, it's just a very special kind of hour, and hopefully you guys will get to do it for a long time to come. For a supporting character, Morgan has had some wonderful moments. Ranging from, and I hope I'm right. I hope I'm remembering this correctly. Making out with Anna in the home theater room of the store last season, to emceeing an employee fight over who would get to be the Buy More's new assistant manager in the season opener this year. Do you have a favorite Morgan moment?
I actually, I mean, I think some are from the pilot and stuff like that, obviously, just because, for me personally, just because there's such a fond memory of, like, it was just so exciting and to be a part of this thing and, being directed by McG and, having Josh Schwartz and Chris Fedak around, just kind of like, these two great writers. And so that was always just personal. It was a fond memory. As a Morgan moment, I actually think tonight, this upcoming episode, is a really good one because Morgan has to face off against Mitt, who is played by Michael Strahan from the New York Giants, and it's a really cool B story. I think it's one of the bigger B stories. It's like, and we have our own guest star for the Buy More. This is not like a bad guy in the spy world or anything. This is a bad guy at the Buy More, and so of course they. And that's sort of that's the way the season 2 has been going for Morgan. I think is that as Chuck becomes less and less visible at the Buy More. I think he's sort of getting more and more sucked up into the spy world, and that Morgan kind of gets thrusted into, having more responsibility, whatever. And he's not. He still does it the Morgan way, but he does have to step it up a bit, and winds up, though not. He doesn't want it, but he winds up with more responsibility and stuff.
Yeah, he definitely does not want more responsibility, does he?
No, that's not part of the plan.
Have you known a guy like Morgan?
Yeah, I think that's the sort of funny thing. I kind of think that everybody has either is. If you don't have a friend, you're probably most likely that guy, because it's like, but I think for especially younger guys and stuff like that. I mean, those friendships where you're just like, that's your boy, it's your best friend. It's like, even though he can drive you up a wall sometimes and do whatever, at the end of the day, if there was one person you have to call or one person that had your back, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it would be that friend. And so I think that's kind of him. I think, as an audience, we know that Chuck's out there trying to save the world or defuse a bomb or do whatever, but Morgan doesn't. He just knows, like, where's his buddy lately? You know what I mean? So I think, he doesn't have that benefit to know that, like, at this moment that, Chuck's caught up in all of this. So it's just sort of like, hey, man, what happened to, video game Fridays and, dumpling Saturdays?
Dumpling Saturdays. Do you think eventually, I mean, the show goes on to third and fourth season. Eventually, Morgan's got to be let in on the general conceit of the show that, Chuck is a spy?
I think that my thoughts are that I think it's sort of, you kind of have to at some point. If you do go that far, if you're starting to go, 4 or 5 seasons, whatever it might be, and beyond, if you have to start exploring different avenues, because, it obviously can get stale if you just stay in the same place. How long can he just keep trying to, hide that from everybody? And I think it just opens up different roads. I think it opens up different avenues of humor, you know what I mean? Now, if all of a sudden, Morgan knows he might not be going on any missions, but he could be, I always describe them as like he could be Batman's Alfred, just sort of like, so, or maybe it's Ellie, maybe it's his sister, or maybe whatever. I just think there's other ways, things are going to have to start opening up somehow and do whatever eventually, But I also do think that the great part of the show is the sort of the one man stuck between all this, is Chuck the heavy of trying to maintain, his everyday mundane life, helping his sister and Captain Awesome kind of maintain their relationship, helping Morgan do his thing and blah, 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 and helping the store do his thing. And then on the other hand, like, foiling terrorist plots. So it's you don't want to spoil that sort of thing of like, him juggling the whole thing. So I think that's a lot of, where the humor comes from and stuff. But yes, I do think that eventually it would make sense that, and I would love it just because, I just get to say cool spy lingo.
Now, in the second episode of the season, Morgan actually gets is in an odd position, I thought, in that he's actually helping Captain Awesome to understand Ellie more in terms of romance and stuff. Where is the whole thing with Morgan and Ellie going to go? Is it just going to continue to twist in the wind?
Probably. I mean, look, I think that right now, as it stands, Morgan's, love for Ellie is sort of, there's a childhood crush, I think, that comes from, like, having your best friend's sister be so hot, and I think, again, something else you could probably, most guys can relate to if,
Mm-hmm.
I remember a friend, I remember my best friend had anytime you see your best friend's sister, it's sort of a girl version of him, you know what I mean? It's like if you could date your friend, you know what I mean? So, like, I think there's always that weird thing. So I think for Morgan, it's just it's actually sweet, and it's sort of, and I think, what's the word? It's sort of sweet and innocent still, and it's like, even though it can border on creepy. But now with Anna and stuff, I think that it sort of takes a back seat. You know what I mean? And I think that you realize that Captain Awesome and Morgan actually are they start to become, buddies, and they kind of start helping each other. And Captain Awesome never seemed too threatened by Morgan's advances. So I think he's fine. And I think it's cool. I mean, that's what's kind of cute about that scene. I thought it was a fun scene to do because it was like, hold on a second. You've been in love with her for 3 years. I've been in love with her for 19. Let me give you some tips. You know what I mean? So it was kind of fun. Yeah.
Well, last thing, because I know you're going to have to go. Yvonne Strahovski.
Yes.
Tell me she's even more beautiful in real life. I don't think I've had a TV crush this bad since Terry Hatcher appeared in Lois and Clark.
Sweet. I will pass that info on. I will pass it on.
Please.
She is. She's absolutely stunning, and she's of course, and then like an Australian accent doesn't hurt when she's in her normal. You know what I mean? So, but a funny thing about Yvonne is that she is such a like. I don't know if it would hurt your crush or anything, but like probably not. But she's a total like boy. She's a total tomboy too. Like obviously, with all her karate fighting and everything like that. But beyond that, she just likes to be like one of the boys, and she just like does dirty jokes and like burping and just all sorts of stuff, which is like oddly hot. You know what I mean? You're like, man, that was a great burp. And and she's super cool. She's doing a great job too. As I was watching this season too, I was like, wow, like because she does have the have to do the accent, have to do whatever, do these really sort of physical scenes, and then stay sort of. She does these great little subtle emotional things too. So I think she's doing a great job, and yeah, she's super hot. Nice job on the crush. Good pick, I think.
Hey, Well, listen, folks, check out actor Joshua Gomez as Morgan on Chuck every Monday night at NBC. It's the best show on the network, and I swear you will not be sorry if you make it must-see TV in your house as it is in ours. And Josh, come back when you can spend more time, and thanks so much for joining us at Mr. Media.
Dude, thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thanks, bro.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.